It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go.
All right, welcome to another episode of Scotty Talks Philly Sports. I'm back here with my man Aaron B. I'm sure all of you guys remember him from the previous Cowboys episode. We did it last time during Dallas week, and I got you back here again, man, to preview this upcoming Week 16 matchup with the Dallas Cowboys. How you doing, Aaron? How's it been, man?
I'm doing pretty good, but my team ain't doing too good. But the NFC is good. That's okay. It'll be better, you know.
Yeah, I feel you. My team ain't so hot either, so I'm right there with you. Things were a lot different the last time we was talking. You know, things were looking kind of up for the Eagles at that point. But it went way downhill afterwards.
Welcome to the club. When we first talked, we lost Dak, so.
But welcome to the show again, man. Everybody be sure to go check out my man. He's a huge Cowboys fan, huge Spurs fan. Does a lot of NBA writing, a lot of NFL writing. You can catch him on Twitter at AaronB901. That's his Twitter handle. Be sure to go give him a follow. Check out some of his work. It's always good to stay on top of the enemy, right? So be sure to check out some of his stuff, guys. But thank you again, Aaron, for coming on the show. Also, of course, remember to like and subscribe to the Scotty Talks podcast. You know it's always appreciated. And be sure to follow my personal page at Scotty Drowned on Twitter, as well as the sports page at ST Philly Sports 1. And also shout out to my partners over at Heat Ratio Sports. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in, man. Cowboys talk. We got a list of segments here. We'll start out with the hot topic. I think it's for every team in the NFC East right now, you know, has a legit shot that they could make the playoffs. Playoffs or no playoffs, how are we feeling as far as, you know, where our team's at? Do we want them to make the playoffs? I'll go ahead and start. I'll let you know. I'm in a hard place because, you know, I'm not going to be mad either way. I see positives in both ways. Obviously, I would prefer to get the top 10 pick. Like it doesn't make sense for us to go into the playoffs and get knocked out of the first round, you know, at home, and then still have all these question marks. And the difference between making the playoffs for us and not is about 10 to 11 picks in the draft. So you drop down significantly if you do win the NFC East. So I want that top 10 pick. I want to go out there and get, you know, a star like Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, one of those guys like that out there. Patrick Surtain, Micah Parsons, those guys are out there. I want a star talent to come in on this team. And I feel like Howie can't make a bad decision inside the top 10. How are you feeling about the Cowboys? You want them to make the playoffs, or what you looking at, man?
Man, from a fan standpoint, I would say I want to go to the playoffs, but to be honest, nah. If everybody hasn't been paying attention, can I read how bad the NFC East is this year?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
All right. We're going to start from the top. We got 6-8 football team, 5-9 Cowboys Giants, 4-9-1 Eagles. So we got 20 wins, 35 losses in the tie. But that's not like we want to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, and from those stats, I mean, nobody deserves to go to the playoffs. I mean, I think, you know, for me, I guess is just getting, if we were to make the playoffs, I think, you know, Jalen Hurts would get some playing time. He would get some experience in the playoffs. I think it would also clear up, you know, the Hurts and Wentz controversy. I think if Hurts takes us to the playoffs, you have to go with Hurts for the future. Like, you can't go back to Wentz at that point. And I think it would just, you know, create some clarity there at the QB position. But, you know, the other side of it is that, you know, I'm not fully convinced that I want Doug Peterson back. I definitely want an offensive coordinator if we are going to bring Doug back. But that offensive scheme needs to change. And I think if we make the playoffs, that gives him a little bit more safety as far as that goes as well.
Okay. Good question. would you if you were going to get an offensive coordinator, would you want to be in that coach that's on the staff, or would you want to be outside of the Eagles?
Yeah, that's actually a good question, man. And I think at this point we would have to go outside the organization. We've tried the coaching ladder in our organization, and quite frankly, I just don't think it's that good. Especially on the offensive side of the ball, I just do not think it's that good. We need to bring in like a young offensive mind. We need to spark this offense up, show some dynamics, in the offense. And I don't think we're going to get that from anybody in the organization, like a Deuce Staley, moving him up to off. I don't think that that's the way to go. If he was worth an offensive coordinator position, I feel like he would already have one. So I'm not going that route. I'm definitely going outside the organization. What about you? How are you feeling about your coaching? I know you mentioned earlier this year you definitely weren't happy with the defense. How are you feeling about your coaching staff right now?
Inconsistent. The main thing I would definitely want a new defense coordinator like outside of Dallas. We had the opportunity just to have Matt Eaglespoon from Nigel close and what he does for them. Like you see, it's improved, but it's not like greatly. It's like
right.
Still tweaking even our 2-win winning streak. Yeah, we beat the Bengals 30-7, but we almost lost to the 49ers, who we had a good lead against. But we're terrible. Right. Which is one thing I'm worried about right now when it comes to the Eagles. Because I definitely know y'all can take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I think this game looks a lot different, and we'll get into this a little bit later as far as our matchup with y'all. But it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup, and definitely a lot different from the first matchup that we saw there. But I think both sides. You mentioned inconsistency. That's what the Eagles have been all season. The whole division has been inconsistent. I think the only team that you could probably, like, if you're a fan of a team in the NFC East, the only team you could probably be proud of is the Washington football team, maybe. I mean, they've showed some bright spots there. They have some studs on offense. They have a great defense. But overall, the whole division is inconsistent and just bad. I mean, just terrible. And, I think we're both in positions as far as our organizations where they need to make some changes within that front office, within, the coaching staff. I definitely think it's time for Jim Schwartz to go. He's not a bad coordinator. I just think it's time to try something new on defense here. We've been, going with this technique of these, playing our corners off the wide receivers. Our corners like to press. Those guys are built for press. And we can't be sitting here playing sticks defense on third and long. That shit has killed us years in a row, man. And I'm tired of seeing it. But we'll move to the next segment. Hurts. Is Hurts the guy in Philly? From my perspective, and I'll let you comment on this as well. From my perspective, we will know by the end of this season. If Hurts does what he's supposed to against the Cowboys and what he's supposed to against the Washington football team, I think it is going to be his team. I'm already leaning more towards Hurts. Just after 2 games, you've seen a little bit of a spark there, especially that last game. He showed he could throw the ball, and that was something that everybody had a lot of questions about. But, he's younger, he's cheaper. If you can move Carson Wentz's contract and keep Hurts, I think that is like the ultimate goal, because you're going to clear cap space for 2022, and then you can go make some moves after next season. So right now, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to be mad if we move one way or the other, whether it's Wentz or Hurts. But right now, I'm leaning towards Hurts. From your outside perspective, how do you feel looking into that? What would you think to do? What do you think is even possible? Is it possible to move on from Wentz's contract?
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing is can you move from his contract. But I would say in these next 2 games, see what he does for y'all this year. And if it does, because you got a mobile quarterback and he's won games in his college career from high school now and stuff like that. So I would say evaluate what he does now, because you never know what you can get in him. You get a mobile quarterback that works his ass off every time he plays, and he takes every game. So Yeah, I would go definitely with it. See where it goes from there.
Yeah, and I think you pointed out some good things there, pointing back to his college success with two different programs. Taking each of them, to the college football playoffs. Definitely improved as a passer at Oklahoma, and he does. He brings I guess what I've noticed since he's came in the game, not only him taking care of the ball a little bit better and making better decisions and wins, but just the energy that he brings. I mean, this man, like you said, he's a hard worker. He shows up ready to play. He takes accountability after the Cardinals loss. He took full blame for that. And the players, the young guys, just seem to, gather around him a little bit better. I pointed this out to, other friends of mine, other Eagles fans, but you see, and I hate to make this seem like something it's not, but as far as a Jalen Hurts type of quarterback, his chemistry with guys like Jalen Reagor and Miles Sanders, young guys, from these urban cities, these young black men from urban cities, doesn't it seem like he would relate better with them than a guy like Carson Wentz? Which I'm not saying anything. Carson Wentz is not a bad dude. He's got a great character, but he's a very Christian guy. He doesn't curse. He doesn't do none of that. He's not the most hip guy. So a guy from like South Dakota. So you get what I'm saying here.
Yeah, I get you said. I definitely get you.
Young guys are more comfortable with Jalen Hurts, and I think it just shows in their play. They're playing better. It seems more fun on the field when I'm watching them. What do you think about that? Do you think that factors in at all to that situation?
Yeah, I feel like that definitely. Yeah, most of your receivers are under 30, so they're gonna relate more to a guy that's coming from a similar background and stuff like that. And not a guy from South Dakota that doesn't say, "Gosh darn it."
I don't mean to like play Carson Wentz. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't do it either.
Character guy, but like you just look at the way think about you. If you were playing football with one of these guys, who would you be more comfortable? Joking around with, listening to music in the locker room. All of that. Like it all comes into team chemistry right there. And he's a younger guy. He just seems like he's having more fun right now. So the next one, obvious question in the room for a Cowboys fan. What's up with Dak? What's the future for him? I think since the last time we talked, it's gotten a lot clearer that y'all need to bring Dak back. How are you feeling about that?
I definitely think we need to bring Dak back. And it almost goes back to y'all. It's like Dak more relates to the players than Andy Dalton. He's a married man, white man with a young wide receivers that are probably moving it up, and Dak goes on both sides of the fence and stuff like that.
Right.
He can talk with a great vernacular, and the next thing he could just relate with his players and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think as far as where y'all are at right now, what pick do you guys have in the draft right now? It's got to be top 10, right?
Yeah, it's in I think 5 or 7 in that range right now.
You got to think, if you can get Dak back, you get a top 10 pick to surround him with on top of it. That's going to be a really good situation for the Cowboys. Obviously, there's some holes there, on the defense, especially. You got to shore up that offensive line, of course, and hopefully get that running game back to normal, next season. But that's a good piece to surround Dak with if you can hold on to him. Hopefully, get a long-term contract done for him. I know Jerry Jones has came out and said he wants to do that. So I think that would be a good look for Dallas. The other side of things is, I just saw this today about Ezekiel Elliott. It seemed like he was phased out of the offense last week. I didn't watch the game, of course, but I did, just looked at the stat sheet. It didn't look like he posted any carries. I don't know if he was injured, what the case was there. I'm sure you can elaborate on that. But how are you feeling about Zeke? Was that contract a mistake? Are you looking forward, to getting him back on track? Is Dak what is weighed him down a little bit, Dak not being there? How are you feeling about that?
It's a lot of things, but he was actually hurt with a calf injury. Don't have the full details if he's going to play this week or not. But that's the main thing is I think the biggest problem with Zeke is, it's him and a Dak with the 1-2 punch when it comes to that. But the
Right.
other thing is offensive line is beat up. Tyron Smith's on his last leg, and now we're seeing Zach Martin breaking down. Hopefully not, but they're both in their 30s now.
Right.
I don't know what the hell happened to Leo Collins. Apparently, he was out of shape for football. Getting them 14 snacks, I don't know. And then we lost Travis Frederick, but I like Tyler Biotis, and McGovern showing promise. Still is Brandon Knight's pretty good, but my biggest thing on the draft, I think we definitely need to look at players that with the name lineman or cornerback or something like that, because we need somebody to block for Dak and Zeke and give more time for them to go to Lamb or Gallup or Cooper and stuff like that. And then on the defense, D-Law has shown signs he's still that guy, but he needs that dynamic defensive tackle or something like that to free up space for the defensive ends and stuff. But I like Diggs. Wuzier's cool, but it would be nice to have a Patrick Surtain, the two Bama boys back like it never.
That's literally, when you said about the draft pick, I was literally thinking Patrick Surtain for y'all, and I would hate that pick. I would hate that. That's gonna be a nice duo right there, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of options when you got that top 10 pick, which is kind of why I'm leaning towards not making the playoffs, bro. I want that top 10 pick. I don't want us to be in a position where we can mess it up. But of course, you would love to see your team with at least a chance in the playoffs, I would imagine. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so you're with Dak. You want Zeke back. You're good with that. You just need the right guys. You need to surround them with the right pieces, and I have to agree with that. Get Dak locked up. You already got Zeke locked up. You got Amari locked up. What are you guys going to do with Michael Gallup? What are you thinking about with him? Is he part of the future? Or are you kind of just going to move on with CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper? What are you thinking about that?
I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Like, I like to have him on there just in case if Cooper or CD's hurt or something like that.
Right.
But then you can see he's hot one game, and then you're like, where is he at?
Right. Yeah, I've noticed that as well. He's a really talented receiver, though.
Oh, yeah. Like, he makes the big plays when you need him and stuff like that. But it's like, can he be consistent? Like,
right.
Yeah, you can find receivers out there, but I like Gallup. But if something came around, like we get a really good pick, and it came around, like, I'll be like, okay, maybe we could go up or something. Let's make it happen. But I wouldn't. Right. I would still be like, man, we lost Gallup. What can we do? We do got a good player in Cedric Wilson, but you just see how he.
And I think, part of it, you're adjusting. You lose Dak. Obviously, Dak's going to, in a game, he's going to complete a lot more passes just in general than Andy Dalton, which gives these receivers a lot more opportunities. You look at Gallup, he's coming off a 1,000-yard season last year, opposite of Amari Cooper. Of course, you had CeeDee Lamb hop in there, and that sort of messed up the flow, I would say, just with Gallup getting as many targets at least. But he'll the thing about Gallup is that he'll have a lot of suitors that would be willing to give up a little compensation for him, which I think down the line that could interest the Cowboys. Maybe get an extra draft pick, something like that in return for him. There's a lot of wide receiver needy teams. Houston comes to the top of my mind when I think of Michael Gallup. I could see him in Houston with the Texans, man. It just seems like a perfect fit with him and Deshaun Watson.
I'd hate to see that, but
right across the aisle. So we can get into the actual Eagles Cowboys matchup this weekend. Like I said, it's looking a lot different. You guys got Andy Dalton back. I don't even remember who your quarterback was the last game, bro. There's a guy from JMU, James Madison University. I can't even remember his name.
Ben DiNucci. I forgot about him.
I could not remember his name.
Hey, let's act like that. It never happened. Never happened.
But that first matchup, I mean, Carson Wentz didn't play very good at all. Your boy Trayvon Diggs had a game. I think he had 2 interceptions that game.
Mm-hmm.
I think Carson, he had at least 2 to 4 turnovers that game. But then, of course, the Cowboys were just beat up on offense, couldn't do pretty much anything that game. And it came down to the quarterback, obviously, just not being able to get anything done. I think if Andy Dalton played in that game, you guys might have won that game, honestly. Ben DiNucci just couldn't make the simple plays, and he made a lot of dumb plays as well. But coming into this matchup, I expect the Eagles to play a little bit better. I think Jalen Hurts has his team playing a little bit better. As far as our keys, just like I said, Hurts playing better than Wentz, not turning the ball over like Wentz was, not making the careless, decisions like Wentz was making, taking sacks. The Eagles' run game, I think Jalen Hurts has opened up the Eagles' run game a lot. He gets a lot of lanes going for Miles Sanders. You have to count for both of them in the run game, so that does help out a lot. The Cowboys' passing game against our beat-up secondary, I know Darius Slay was out this past week against the Cardinals. That killed us with DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, he murdered us. I think he had like 10 receptions, 169 yards, making crazy catches. But, we may get Darius Slay back for this game. Our secondary is still beat up either way. We lost Avonte Maddox. Rodney McLeod's out for the season. So we got a lot of young guys in there. So the Cowboys can take advantage there. Andy Dalton, he's still got an arm. He still can make the throws. They can take advantage in the passing game, I believe, there. But ultimately, I think the Eagles' defense still need to rely on bringing the pressure with that front four and, getting some sacks, getting some turnovers. How are you feeling coming into this game? You feel a little bit better than last game, or what are you thinking as far as the matchup with the Birds this time?
I feel a lot better because Ben DiNucci's not playing. This Jeez. This man probably didn't even want to be in. He thought I was be chilling for a few years. Man, but I do feel more comfortable about this game. I'm not gonna say comfortable because it's the Eagles and our rival.
Right.
But my biggest thing is let's start Andy Dalton not holding the ball. Him and the receiver is on the right connection because there's been some times where the receiver will go this way, he's throwing that way.
Right.
The right path on that one. And then if Zeke plays, he just got to go back to how he plays. It's like the offensive line's got to step up. And if it's not, we got Pollard. Pollard did a great game, but don't treat Pollard like a Zeke because they're two different guys. Pollard's not like a legit running back. He's kind of like that specialization type of player. He can
like a third down type guy.
Yeah, third down type of guy. So he can do the zones. He can be in the slot. He's not going to be running up the gut because we're not going to have Tony Pollard after that because he's not that type of runner. I remember y'all defensive line.
That's like the one bright spot on our team. Yeah, the defensive line, man. They're starting to pick up their play too.
All right, that's the scary part. And I'm gonna go into the defense. I'm gonna go a little. I like how the secondary's been stepping up. The young guys are slowly becoming better, and we got Diggs back as a plus. But my biggest thing is our linebackers are basically paper mache. Leighton Vander Esch is getting hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Ali, we got to keep the reps low. And Jalen Smith, nothing against this man, but he gets the tackles. Yes, it's on the stats, but the tackles are him reaching and grabbing them instead of going at them and tackling. He's like, oh, shit. I'm
driving them back. Yeah.
He's not. It's like he's like overthinking. I don't know if the defense is overcomplicated for him but the defensive line has stepped up. Like, you got Gallimore. If Woods is coming back, that's another spot. D-Law's doing well. I'm glad we got Randy Gregory back, one of my favorite defensive line on the team. And Alden Smith, he makes a couple mistakes. Both all make mistakes, but they do their job and stuff like that. But I think the main thing is the secondary needs to not be way out there, play press against y'all because Yeah, give y'all too much space. Them receivers gonna get some yards. Greg Ward, Travis Fulgham, and y'all got Jeffries back, right?
Yeah, Jeffrey's back.
Oh, and the biggest thing is Ertz and Goddard. Dallas Goddard always gives us hell. Like, y'all got to make sure we cover these guys because they gonna have a field day and stuff. That's my biggest keys on the offensive defense.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a good point with Goddard and Ertz. I mean, Ertz is starting to get back in. He's starting to get a rhythm there. Alshon Jeffrey actually had a pretty big game against the Cardinals, man. He only had two catches for 63 yards, but he was burning. I don't know what it was against Patrick Peterson, but he had that man's number. I swear he got like 3 or 4 defensive pass interferences on that man, which it saved a lot of our drives. Just Patrick Peterson not being able to keep up with Alshon. It was weird. Yeah, I was not expecting it. I haven't been the highest on Alshon, but he still does have some juice in there.
Oh, yeah,
Ertz still got some juice, but Goddard's ready to be that number 1 tight end. He's ready for Ertz to bounce, I think. He's ready to get all the targets, at that spot. I think he's about done with Ertz being there. But Dallas Goedert's a good talent. And I like how you brought up Pollard because he actually intrigues me a lot more just versus us. We tend to have a lot more trouble. Now, don't get me wrong. We have always had trouble against Zeke for some reason. But just vaguely, generally speaking, we fare better against bigger backs. So Pollard's type of elusive, receiving type of just speed back, that's kind of scary. And he did spark you guys a little bit in that first matchup. I think he had a longer touchdown against us in that first matchup. But he's an interesting play there. I think he can be used in the passing game against us. I saw Chase Edmonds for the Cardinals. He scored a touchdown off a catch last week. So we'll have to keep an eye on him as well. I thought that was a good point you brought up there. And it does seem like the Cowboys defense has been playing better. They're not giving up these historically bad games like they were doing towards the beginning of the season. And that's how young defenses are. I mean, you got guys getting comfortable in their roles. Young secondary players, young defensive linemen. It takes time for them to get in their groove and get some chemistry. So it makes sense. But, overall, I guess we can do our predictions. It may change throughout the week depending on how stuff goes. But my prediction, I'm going to go – I think it's going to be a decently high-scoring game. I think the Eagles win this one 27-20, 27-17, something like that. I think you guys can get up above the 15-point mark, of course, with our secondary being beat up the way it is. Maybe even hit the 20-point mark. Our secondary is really tore up, and you guys got some talented guys out there. But, yeah, 27-20, 27-21 sounds right about there. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think this is still a division game. Either way, I don't see a blowout either way. How are you feeling as far as score-wise? What are you thinking?
Man, we're kind of in that area, and this is going to hurt me. I do got the Eagles winning this game. Dang. Oh. But I'll get over it. But I see it 21-32.
Okay.
And my biggest worries is we haven't been doing too well against mobile quarterbacks, and I wasn't too happy when the 49ers, when they get the running game involved. Miles Sanders ain't no joke. I didn't mean to forget about him. I was like, I needed to put that in there in this podcast. Miles Sanders ain't nothing to play with. And then you got Hurts that could run as well. So I'm going to say 21-32 Eagles. I'm going to say that real quick.
Hey, at least you aren't a homer. That's what it comes down to. You got to keep it real. I feel you. The Cowboys can win this game. I think the Eagles have a little bit more momentum right now, even though you guys are coming off a win. It's weird how we have momentum right now just because Hurts is in the game. I think that's just solely what is giving me confidence at all. Because in reality, I shouldn't have much confidence. I mean, that game against the Saints, that was once in a lifetime. It feels like, but it'll be a close game. It's a rivalry. And Andy Dalton is a guy who has started in this league for a long time. So I think people need to take that, and give some respect to him. But, Yeah, as far as I guess we already hit the draft. I was going to ask you about the draft, kind of who you were looking at, but you mentioned Patrick Surtain. Is there anybody else that you're kind of looking at with that top 10 pick that you have your eyes on?
I know I want to definitely would look at offensive tackles. I could say the kid out of Oregon, but my biggest thing is he's been out for the whole year. I want to know how well in shape he is, how he moves, because that 1 year could make a big difference from a guy that's been playing games and stuff like that. So
yeah, for real,
do some evaluation on how he's going to be in the league.
Yeah, and I think this is all depending on whichever team in the NFC East makes the playoffs as well. So if we make the playoffs, we won't get the top 10 pick. But if we do get the top 10 pick, I think for me, I already said it. Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, even Patrick Surtain, if he was to fall to where we're at, Micah Parsons, another guy. I just want a playmaker. I want a bona fide playmaker. On either side of the ball. We definitely lack some talent in the linebacking core and in that secondary. I wouldn't mind going either of those areas in the draft. But we'll see how it plays out. I feel like if guys like Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, even Jalen Waddle, if those type of guys are there, it's going to be hard to watch your team pass those. They're stars. Those are playmakers. Who do you have out of the top wide receivers? Who's your favorite?
My favorite has to be Devontae Smith out of Alabama. I like how he plays, the Slim Reaper. I have seen a couple of his games. I'm like, okay, this guy.
I'm low key more high on him than Jamar Chase, but I will not be mad at either one if we were to draft either one. But I do. I've been kind of leaning more towards Devontae Smith. He is a dog, especially since Jalen Waddle went out. He's been taking over. But one last thing before I get you out of here, Aaron. I know you're an NBA guy. I know you got your Spurs game tomorrow. I got my Sixers coming up soon as well. They're opening night game. How are you feeling about this late game tonight? I know the Nets and the Warriors are already playing. It looked like the Nets had control of that game the last time I looked. But how are you feeling about the Lakers and Clippers? Who do you think takes the W tonight?
I think the Lakers are going to get the W. They're more deep and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think I'm with the Lakers as well tonight. I think the Clippers have a little bit of a revenge thing there where, they're going against Montrezl Harrell. You see a couple of those guys on the sideline. You saw LA, the Lakers take over. It was a battle of LA last year, and you guys didn't even make it to the Western Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think they have a little bit of revenge there. I just don't know if that's enough on ring ceremony night against LeBron and AD.
All right, they're going to show out.
I'm still going Lakers as well as you. Yeah, how you feeling about this season, though? What are you expecting? Anything exciting you're expecting, or what?
My biggest thing is glad to see basketball. I definitely going to be some excitement from seeing the rookies, seeing what they can do, and then seeing what the Lakers make another repeat, can everybody stay healthy and stuff like that.
Right. And the crazy thing is, man, the Lakers are a better team than what they were last year. Talent-wise, they're way better. It's so weird that they were able to get better. You look at Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell. I mean, those guys are significant pieces that they've added. They're going to be nice. I mean, I think the Clippers will still be up there in the top 5 seed. But the West got some competition out there. But obviously, I'm interested to see the Nets this season with KD and Kyrie, and then of course my Sixers. I want to see what they got. if Ben and Joel can finally make it work with Doc Rivers.
Yeah, that was a good addition, getting Doc Rivers instead of having our Mike Brown.
Yeah.
Facts. Ain't nothing against. He used to be assistant coach for the Spurs, but he ain't no Greg Popovich.
Nah. He might get another job somewhere else, maybe as an assistant. But just his time was up here. We needed a real coach, and I think Doc Rivers going to fill that role. But I'll get you out of here, Aaron. Man, it was a pleasure once again having you on. And maybe we can even get you on for a recap after the game as well. We can get that done next week sometime. I'd love to get you back on.
Okay.
But let's go catch this game, go watch some basketball. I'm happy the NBA is back. Once again, guys, be sure to go give my man Aaron B a follow on Twitter at AaronB901. Like I said, he's putting out NBA material, he's putting out NFL material. He covers college sports as well. Give my man a follow. Is there anything you want to let my listeners know that you're doing right now? Anything that you got coming out? Anything we need to keep an eye on?
I just want to do the last thing is about how my Spurs are. I'm gonna say they could be a 9 seed or 8 seed. They're gonna be a scrappy team, but I definitely got to see how they step up. I like the guys. I like Devin Vassell as a rookie, but I'm gonna get into it. So y'all go check me out. Appreciate it, Scott, for having me on Aaron B 901. And I asked some. I'm doing staff writing for the Off the Ball Network. Shout out to them. Shout out to Chris LeBron and them being part of this. And shout out to the SOA Network as a podcaster. Right now, I'm thinking about doing another scouting report. I did one on the Bills, and I'm gonna look at a team in the NFC East. So be on the lookout for that.
Nice.
I'm definitely willing to collab with anybody and stuff like that. Scotty, I definitely want to do another episode. Definitely do the recap. I just appreciate it for having me on.
Yeah, of course. And I like how you mentioned the Spurs there, man. We'll definitely get together, do an NBA episode. We can get that out as well. We'll definitely be collabing though. But thank you for coming on. The Spurs are an interesting team though. We'll definitely dive into that next time I see you. Maybe next week on the recap we can hit NBA and NFL. That would be perfect actually. Okay. But once again, thank you, man. I appreciate you. Be sure, guys, go like and subscribe to the podcast, Scotty Talks Philly Sports. Be sure to give me a follow on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ST Philly Sports 1. My personal page at Scotty Drowned. That's going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys for all checking this one out. And like I said, go give my man Aaron B some love. Thank you again, Aaron. Much love, man.